So today, our amazing seminar is going to be on blockchain, cryptocurrency, and data. So our first panelist, Lisa Francoeur, is a decorated technologist in blockchain, a self-professed futurist, and a proud Haitian American. She ranked number 30 on the list of top 50 most influential people in crypto in the world. Number 5 out of 7 top crypto female CEOs, and 5 out of 11 top Black founders driving innovation in Web3. That's impressive. I don't think I even made a varsity team, and she's like number 1 in like the world. Okay, very impressive. Okay, I digress. Known as the Oprah of tech and as a LinkedIn content creator in emerging tech, AI, blockchain, digital currencies, and Web3, Lisa's thought leadership is in high demand, having spoken at Harvard Kennedy School, Carnegie Hall, in the AUC Data Science Seminar Series today, and we're so glad to have her here. Upon introduction into the Haitian Roundtable's prestigious 1804 list, Lisa proclaimed that revolution is encoded in her DNA. Her alignment with the disruptive nature of technology inspired her to co-found Tutors, an award-winning, privately held, and profitable Web3 education startup. Super glad to have Lisa here with us today. Along with her is Nina Blankenship, who is the CEO and co-founder of Tutors, a profitable award-winning crypto education startup specializing in upskilling corporate employees through a B2B model. A former top-ranking global media sales executive at LinkedIn, Nina is also a LinkedIn learning instructor known for her popular course, Video Strategies for High Engagement. Leveraging her marketing expertise, Nina has led Tutors' creative team to produce high-quality original content, including e-learning resources, the Crypto Couch YouTube show, and Crypto Rap. Yeah, she does rap too. In less than 18 months, she scaled Tutors to a 7-figure valuation without external funding, even during economic downturns. A strong advocate for diversity, Nina also organizes the Crypto for the Culture Conference, which is the largest diversity-focused event in the crypto space, which has been featured in Forbes, among others. And Nina holds a BA in finance from the University of Florida and actively trades crypto. So we are super excited to have both Lisa and Nina with us today to talk with us about blockchain, cryptocurrency, and data. And as they talk along, feel free to put questions or comments in the chat, as this will definitely be an engaging, interactive session. Lisa and Nina, take it away.
Well, first and foremost, my gosh, I was so touched, moved, and inspired by that incredible introduction, super humbling. And we are extremely grateful to be in the presence of virtual greatness. We know that we can't be with you physically, but are super happy to be having this conversation with you today. Before we get started, Nina, do you want to say anything to the folks, the good folks?
I just want to say thank you so much for the entire team to put this event together for us. And for everyone who's on the panel, we're very open to networking, and we put together a great presentation just to open up, our knowledge, a little sneak peek of what's happening right now and what's in the future, and potential partnerships and career opportunities. I can go ahead and share my screen, and that way everybody can start off by, hopefully you all can connect with us on LinkedIn and stay in touch beyond this conversation.
Exactly right, exactly right. And we invite all conversations. This is one of the topics that we are super passionate about. And we recognize that, the democratization of access to wealth and wealth building stems from really understanding industries of growth. And this facet of emerging technology, Web3, is poised for explosive growth. So we're super excited to kind of set the stage. I'll follow UNCG Spartan. Okay. Super happy to see the representation. But, in relation to what we're going to be sharing with you all today, we're having this conversation because we really want to impress upon you that calibrating to industries of growth, understanding what job functions, what technologies on the emerging tech side should be a part of your toolkit, et cetera. So yeah, you want to start the presentation?
Yeah, and maybe before we jump in, we'll just do a little background about how we got started. I think it's really important for people to understand, like the genesis story behind Crypto Tutors. We started this company in 2020. We have 3 co-founders, Lisa. This is supposed to be myself, Lisa, and we have a third co-founder, Moetti, and he actually is my statistics tutor back in university, helping me get all A's in my finance classes. And in 2020, he was really explaining to Lisa and I the power of blockchain technology, what it can do. He's Zimbabwe American. They have $1 trillion note, like a dollar bill. It's $1 trillion there. That's not worth very much. Lisa is Haitian American. I'm Japanese American. We're all sending money back home. And so the use case of remittances and being able to send money back home through crypto really, resonated with us. And it being real time, no middleman, and very low fees. It's a very easy use case for a practical application. And then beyond that as well. Well, it looks like we got a poll question here.
What is your status? Thank you, Nina, for contextualizing. I think that that is so important because, digital transformation for the sake of transformation is not what this is about. This is about addressing real world issues in a personal, professional capacity. So thank you for setting that stage, because a lot of times people think that we are a nonprofit because we're so mission driven. But the reality is that you can be a social capitalist.
And so the reason why we decided to create the company is because when Moetti was explaining to us, a more complex theory of how to stake a stablecoin and decentralized finance in 2020, it was very complicated. And we were trying to do our research to figure out, who could we trust? What are the steps? What are these things that we're clicking on? And what does this mean? And there really wasn't anybody that we could trust, especially nobody who looked like us, that we wanted to learn from. And that's when we realized, okay, if we can combine our superpowers, Moetti is the creator of the first penny auction website to accept Bitcoin as payment, an earlier adopter of Bitcoin. And Lisa and I working at LinkedIn on the talent solutions team, and myself with a LinkedIn learning background, and Lisa's also worked for other startups. We thought we could combine our superpowers and create reliable, trustworthy education. And so we started Crypto Tutors by providing education to corporations to upskill their employees. This blockchain technology is being used now in over 50% of Fortune 500 companies. They're activating it. It's not something to think about that's happening later on. These companies are hiring and using this technology right now. And we want you all to think about this, whether you're a student, think about it for a career, or being a builder, or if you're a faculty member, think about how blockchain technology can be used in your industry in relationship to your course or for your university. So that's what we're here today. It's just to give you a sneak peek into the industry, real applications and careers.
Thank you, Nina.
Sure.
So, to that point, it's a really excellent segue into what we want to discuss today. And I know that the focus is on, blockchain at large, cryptocurrency, which is one of the applications associated with how blockchain technology is being commercialized, and of course, data and what that means with the third iteration of the internet. So if you move to the next slide, Nina, I think it's important to, before we get into the nuts and bolts, just provide a bit of context as to, what is blockchain? When we're talking about this technology that was originated in the 90s and didn't really become, commercially viable until the advent of Bitcoin, which was in, 2009. Fast forward, you're seeing how blockchain, as a result of the cryptocurrency application, has become a, multi-trillion-dollar market. And when you put the, GDPs of countries like Brazil and Italy, and you see that they're at parity with the cryptocurrency market, this is something that we all must pay attention to. And so, when you think about what is blockchain, I want you to think about a Google Sheets. We like to say that it's hyper supercharged because everyone can see it. So there is that transparency. But it's permission based with respect to how actions on chain are validated, how they are added, what the criteria is. And essentially we're delegating to technology what humans have done, and the margin of error is drastically reduced as a result. A couple things to keep in mind as well, as far as why this technology has so many different use cases across a variety of verticals, is because some of the characteristics, which include decentralization, right? There is no intermediary that is deciding what happens, when happens, etc. It's like this distribution of power, this literal democratization of power. There's this immutability, there is this transparency. And so it's really important that when we start to get the wheels in our mind turning around, how does this make sense for, my business? How does this make sense for the world that I'm living in? Keep these factors in mind: this decentralization application, this immutability application, this transparency application is like a framework to determine when it's appropriate. But Nina, if you go to the next slide, this is also too what's so fascinating. When we think about the Bitcoin network, again, you're talking about over $1 trillion market cap. When we think about the Bitcoin network, this poster child for decentralization, the next phase of this blockchain world is the advent of these smart contracts, the ability for you to create criteria and have that criteria executed once parameters are met. And the amazing part about that is that it can be applied in areas that we've seen a tremendous amount of bottlenecking, lack of attribution. We use royalty payments as an example. Like, it's a shame to see how difficult and often inaccessible the fees for what you're earning, how they're not being paid back to you. So being able to, again, use that immutability, transparent system, being able to, once this criteria is met, have it automatically paid out, etc. So, we're really wanting to show you guys that the range in terms of solving real world issues is like infinite. And these are just a few ideas to plant in your mind what it looks like. But another one I want to highlight is fractional ownership. This is exploding. The concept of tokenization of, real world assets, which just means taking homes and putting them on chain, unlocking, equity in a fractionalized way where, people can participate in ownership as a result of the barrier to entry cost-wise being drastically lowered, because the home, the commercial property, etc., can be divvied up to, in some instances, like if you take a Satoshi to the 8th decimal level. So yeah, there's a lot of excitement, and you're seeing a lot of banking institutions. Bank of America has a great white paper on RWA, as they call it. But yeah, next slide, Nina.
Okay, awesome.
To Nina, if I may, I just want to wrap it up with a nice little bow, because I think that this is really important in terms of, what is happening in the market right now. So real quick, 3 countries, India, Nigeria, and Indonesia, are the fastest adopting countries in terms of crypto in the world. And the United States actually ranks 4th in the top 20. And the United States, well, North America, is the most dominant market in the world. And I say that to say, if you look at what's coming down the pike as Nina goes through these use cases, you're starting to see exponential growth in the industry, traction to the tune of 220 million users, wallet addresses, based on the State of Crypto report by Andreessen Horowitz. But saying that to say, as Nina goes through these use cases, you're seeing explosive growth, and this is how it's being implemented.
Okay, thanks. So just to level set in terms of the blockchain use cases, before I go into them, I just want to state that, blockchain technology is just record keeping transactions. It's of information, of data, record keeping that cannot be changed. And so there's a lot of false information out there. And so blockchain is able to either combine with other data sets or solve problems that traditional finance, traditional technology, traditional systems don't have the capability of doing, because it is so fast, it is the most secure. And it's another alternative potentially to corporations for their company problems. So I'm going to go into 5 examples right now, and feel free to comment in the chat. Let us know, like, what are you studying? What industry are you in? And so that way we know like what use cases are best for you. So the first use case here we have is in relationship to technology for payments. And right now you're seeing that many corporations, many companies, many banks, when sending money, especially, whether it's through a wire system or ACH, it takes many times a day or several days. Well, while using blockchain technology, it can be there within seconds. And there's no intermediary company. And why this is important is because you want to make sure that the money is actually getting into the right hands of the person that you want it to go to, right? So whether I'm trying to send money abroad to a family member, or let's think about it like a nonprofit that really wants to make sure the money gets to Haiti to the right person, and that way that there is no financial crimes being taken place. Think about all of the corruption that's being taken place with blockchain technology. That the money is going to the right person instantly. And so by using cryptography, it's a secure distributed ledger that is across multiple computers globally, ensuring that these transactions are happening and being sent to the right person on time. The next one is intellectual property. We're all seeing AI sort of take over, right? But AI systems and how machine learning works with AI is that it's only as good as information that you're putting in, right? So if you're putting false information in, false information is coming out, and you don't know what is true and what's not true. Well, blockchain can actually solve that problem and authenticate the information that is true or not true. And this is something that we're seeing that is happening. There's a blockchain protocol called Story that is able to authenticate the record, the ownership, the creative works, users, and really making sure that everybody is getting paid appropriately and has the rights to that content. Lisa, I know this is like one of your favorite topics. Do you want to add anything to this?
With respect to Story?
Yeah, or AI, on an IP side.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that coming from the perspective of an artist, who has like poems that I've copywritten, trademarked, crypto tutors being, writers, producers of original bodies of work and music, I think it's really important to understand how protecting your assets in the world of artificial intelligence and what that looks like. And to Nina's point, when you have, protocols that are addressing these issues, it reminds us that, okay, this is a time where we have to be extremely solution minded. And I think in the example of whether it be IP or really anything that Nina's speaking to, this is driven by solving problems that have implications of trillions of dollars, especially if you talk about the supply chain issue.
Yeah, so everybody here, I think, has a strong passion for data or data science. And this is one of the biggest use cases that solving needs right now, whether it's, trillions, $4 trillion in the shipping industry are happening, or goods are being shipped. You also have another case where Boeing, is using multiple vendors for different parts of their airplane. You also have other companies like De Beers has a brand as well, where they're tracking the parts every step of the way, the diamonds from the mine to the retailer. And so, why is this a need right now? Well, for example, in the case of Boeing, they have multiple different vendors where they're getting these airplane parts. They don't know if the parts are authentic. They don't know the quality of the parts, and they actually, are just relying on traditional methods to track that. Well, instead, with blockchain technology, you're able to see and validate that these parts are true every step of the way on the supply chain. And by using blockchain technology, they're using a chain called Simba to do this. They're able to increase the quality, have fewer airplane issues in terms of like mechanics and delays with their airplanes. And, that ensures the safety of its customers, right? Its passengers of airplanes. In the shipping industry here that you see on the slide, they're partnering with IBM, and they have IBM has a system called TradeLens to be able to ensure every step of the way for the supply chain using blockchain technology of its goods from the from the destination, every step of the way to the arrival of those goods that are being shipped. And on the retail side, I think we can all relate to this. As a consumer, you don't know when something is going to be authentic, right? So blockchain technology is able to keep a digital record of every good to authenticate, even like the different parts. So there's something called Aurora blockchain that tracks even, for example, like Louis Vuitton, LVMH, right? They have their own farms for the leather, right? And they have their own flowers to making sure to create the fragrance of their perfumes. And they want to make sure that they're authenticating each of these parts every step of the way from the actual farm to the consumer, validating that this is why you should pay the price because it is authentic. And then the last one is finance. Right now, I think that traditional finance is a little bit tricky. Sometimes, people are getting discriminated against, or maybe that the traditional financial systems are not fast enough, or maybe they're limited. And so Aave, for example, is a decentralized borrowing and lending platform that eliminates the middleman. And with this platform, you can also become your own bank, which is something that many people have never done before. So you can actually become your own bank and take ownership of your own finance, which is really cool. And we have so many stories of this where we've heard where people have, they've been trying to get a loan and they've submitted their ID. And once they submitted their ID, they felt like things just slowed down. And meanwhile, the interest rates were going up and they're being priced out of being able to purchase a home. So they used Aave carefully. I'll just put that in there. There's risk with everything. And then they were able to get their loan for their home instantly within 24 hours, which many times even in traditional finance, you can't get a loan within 24 hours if it's too long for a home anyways. So here are some 5 use cases. Lisa, do you want to talk about crypto for the culture?
It's one of my favorite topics. Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Nita, for sharing all that goodness about use cases. I promise you all, and I know that I'm speaking to the choir, but like, there's so much to cover. There's so much to unpack. There's so many different, there's so much nuance in this industry. And actually that contributes to why it is that we curated a conference experience that, believe it or not, is 7.5 hours of about multiple panels that speak to exactly what are the different areas within Web3 that we should be paying attention to. And, over the past 4 years, Crypto Tutors has really wanted to provide Web3 reliable, trustworthy education in relation to Web3 and responsibly onboarding people. Now, as a result of the business model that Nina walked you through earlier in terms of focusing on B2B and upskilling employees and what have you, we did recognize that there was a tremendous gap, from the masses perspective, and we wanted to address that gap and connect viewers to who all are the titans of industry, architecting and engineering the future, as I like to say. And the biggest caveat here is that we wanted to address another glaring issue and something that we've devoted our careers to, and that is ensuring that the ecosystem of Web3 is built in a diverse, inclusive manner. And, we started to prioritize Black, Brown, POCs, LGBTQ+, et cetera, underrepresented leaders on our YouTube channel with our Crypto Couch interviews back in 2021. And then we decided to basically put it together in a conference structure because so many of the leaders that we had met doing boss things like, why aren't they represented at the permission list and the consensus and all these Bitcoin conferences, all these big conferences? It's like, what, we out here. So why are we not represented in a thought leadership manner in these, on these stages? So, and not to get too excited and overzealous, but I'm passionate. So we created this conference, and we are providing reliable, trustworthy education and intentionally curating representation for everyone, regardless of race, color, creed, sexual orientation. Everybody's invited. And the next conversation, actually, I'll be touching upon, speaks to one of the panels that I think was the most mind-bending in terms of how the world of Web3 is evolving. And of course, in light of today's discussion around data, you know, I wanted to make sure that we called out, yes, Crypto for the Culture, definitely watch that. You can watch the YouTube channel if Nina, yes, she dropped it in the chat. But one aspect of the conversation that is super relevant to the conversation today around data is this idea of a decentralized identity. Now, a lot of us are aware of social media companies that have continued to capitalize on our presence in a variety of ways, you know, running up the numbers to, you know, multi-billion-dollar entities. I don't know if Meta is a trillion-dollar entity yet, but how much of that money are we making? See, here's the thing. Data is one of the most valuable assets that most people have never heard of. Now, I know the audience that I'm talking to right now understands how important data is, how valuable data is. You know, you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars, but how do we protect ourselves? How do we protect our data with the advent of the third iteration of the internet? And that's what's so interesting about this conversation at Crypto for the Culture, that you can scan the QR code to get to that timestamp, because this is going to help you understand how the retention of ownership of your identity in digital domains unlocks access to what has access to you. So that might not seem like a big deal, but when you're getting advertisements, when you're getting content served to you on platforms, et cetera, all that plays into how your digital identity is giving information about you to determine what to serve you, to buy, or to cultivate a certain mindset, etc. So saying all that to say, the notion of decentralized identities, actually, let me just take a soft pulse check. How many people in the chat, maybe throw a thumbs up, are familiar with the term decentralized identities? Me? Okay, Kay, we see you. Anybody else, out of curiosity, how many people are aware of what this idea of a decentralized identity is?
Okay, and while we're waiting for that, just wanted to put together a resource page here. So we actually have over 15,000 jobs in relationship to Web3 and companies that are in the Web3 space. This, you know, typically conferences in relationship to crypto or Web3 are hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to attend. But we wanted to break down all barriers and provide you with a free conference virtually. Check it out here. And then also the resources of the active jobs. So check this out, bookmark this page, because these are the companies that are actually hiring right now.
And to that point, again, a couple of people in the audience are familiar with decentralized identities. Nina, real quick, before we go to that, I just want to leave them with the understanding of identity management in a manner that allows you to have full reign over what data points associated with who you are, what you do are visible, and if there's a charge associated with it and all those things. So definitely, as far as emerging trends are concerned, keep that on your radar. And again, companies that you were just mentioning, Nina, about the $15,000 job openings. Some of our partners, like Block, formerly known as Square, the parent company of Cash App, and TBD, which is what we were just showing you as far as the conference was concerned. That panel represented TBD. All these companies are hiring, they're growing. And Nina, I think you're going to show the DeFi All Odds, if you don't mind going back to that, because this is really mission critical in terms of how Crypto Tutors is addressing the need to shorten the skills gap in one of the fastest growing industries of emerging technology. When we talk about Web3, we talk today about a variety of use cases, variety of industries, which we hope is impressing upon you that these millions of jobs, they're being created. And we want to make sure that you are properly calibrated to take advantage, and more so, even prioritization of you as a candidate. So Nina, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. So in 2022, Lisa and I went on a historically Black college and university tour, trying to just provide basic education to students about, what is Bitcoin, what is blockchain technology, and what are the roles within this space. And what we found out is that we met with brilliant data science students, computer science, legal, marketing, accounting, all different types of students that were very curious about this industry, but they didn't know where to start. And that basically fueled our motivation to apply to the National Science Foundation. And we are accepted to build DeFi All Odds. This DeFi All Odds platform starts off with a Web3 career assessment, helping students understand their career pathway into Web3. But it is a hub for, emerging tech talent longer term. And so we wanted to just give you a little sneak peek of longer term, what we're working on, to see if you are interested in working with us, if you're a faculty member at a university, or if you're helping to enable students or even professionals on the fintech side as well, because you could be somebody who's working in traditional tech or finance and you need to move into that space. Please scan our QR code. Our goal is 3 steps with the DeFi All Odds platform. Number 1, we want people to understand what is the career path that's best for them, which is the assessment. And number 2 is making sure that students and professionals are actually qualified through a portfolio to prove that they can do the work. And then number 3 is getting them into that VIP lane. Once a job within Web3 is posted, thousands of people apply to these jobs. And even on the non-technical side, these jobs pay on average $140,000. So within our platform, our goal is to get these qualified talent, whether you're a student or a professional, to the VIP lane, very similar to TSA Clear, skipping the line and getting in for that interview. So we welcome you to connect with us here. And I have here. And then we also wanted to let you know, if you are a student or if you are a faculty member, to please join our VIP list. And so I'll just drop this in the chat. We're working with many different organizations that want to identify the top students for hiring, and we have those relationships. So go ahead and check this out, submit like 10 students, or if you're a student yourself, you can submit and then put your professor's name as a referral. That'll be great. Some of the jobs that are actively hiring right now with a very high sense of urgency is Coinbase. They have over 70 job openings. This could be for data science, research, marketing, finance, accounting, compliance, engineering, business development, HR, it doesn't matter. Please, if you're interested, apply by November 7th as soon as possible. And this is actually for the summer of 2025. And they're actually going to pay for you to go there. Technical roles are in San Francisco, non-technical roles are in New York, and they're actually going to provide housing stipend as well. So we at Crypto Tutors, we're in your best interest of trying to get you into that company, into Web3 for positions, whether it's internships or full-time roles, and we've got your back. So connect with us. Those are our LinkedIn profiles.
And that concludes this presentation. I know we wanted to open it up for Q&A, so happy to entertain any of the questions, comments, etc.
That was great. Really super informative. Thank you so much. And what we'll do before we take the questions, I'm going to read off some of the poll results. And so one of them said, what's your status? And it looks like 77% of y'all have graduated or you're working professionals. 23% are currently enrolled students. And if you're a student, where are you? It looks like we have some first-year students, seniors, masters, PhD. And then for the gender breakdown, looks like we're kind of half and half. And where do you currently live? 69% are in Georgia, 23% not in Georgia, and some are joining internationally. Feel free to put where you're from in the chat. The inventor of blockchain credits this for inspiring the name blockchain. Is it Lego blocks? Is it chain blocks of DNA? Is it Kansas City Chiefs offensive line? I'm assuming that's like football. Fission reaction structure. What say you all? Nina, Lisa? Okay.
That's a good question. I mean, I am looking it up because I don't know offhand what inspired its name. That's an interesting question. I never thought to ask that.
Blockchain for Lego blocks.
That makes sense, though. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, good. When you put it together. And then the last question was, which of these are true? Is it in 2010, someone in Florida paid 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas? There are more than 7,300 cryptocurrencies currently out. You're there, whatever. Fees are referred to as gas.
Ethereum. Yeah. Yep. I mean, all of that is true.
If I can't do a Spanish pronunciation, it doesn't usually happen. China used to account for about 65% of cryptocurrency mining.
That sounds right, though. They banned it, but I imagine in the beginning.
Everybody who answered was true. So
yeah.
they're all actually all true. So thanks everybody for participating in our fun poll. Really appreciate that. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat or the Q&A and we'll just grab them. And so someone said, does anyone need to have a certain certification before applying? I'm a recent graduate with a master's in health informatics, might I say, from the amazing Morehouse School of Medicine. So how can they get down with this?
Just apply. Just apply.
Well, actually, no, I would like to take a step back there. I think that it is important to do your due diligence with respect to what are the qualifications associated with the application process. You know, it's important to understand what fundamental requirements there may be. And not to say that this is an industry that has a lot of precedent. The reality is that it's in its nascent. So people aren't not coming to the industry with decades and decades of experience, like it's an extremely new industry, and that newness is what I think is creating more equality and equity in terms of everyone having an opportunity to have a seat at the table. But the caveat is that if you're going, let's just say hypothetically, Algorand has a foundation. It's one of the most popular protocols, blockchain protocols. If you want to work at Algorand, like you have to have some idea of what Algorand is, what the purpose is, et cetera, et cetera. So I really want people to be prepared as they consider what makes sense for them and think through how the uniqueness of their experience can actually apply to the value created in role. And that applies technical and non-technical. Now, one other thing I'll say with technical is that there are coding languages, for example, that you must know, like, even though it's, Solidity for the Ethereum, knowing Solidity for Ethereum protocol, knowing, like Rust for Bitcoin, you can download the Bitcoin code as well and work off of it. But the point I'm making is that obviously there are technical requirements, and then non-technical, you want to have a foundational understanding. And that's actually, Dr. Talitha, what we're working on at scale with our DeFi All Odds platform, because we recognize that people need to know how to properly calibrate.
Yeah, I think also you have some time now, like just apply now as soon as possible. But try to make sure within your resume, you have certain keywords in there. So like Lisa and I, we used to work at LinkedIn, right? So we know what people are looking for. And so if you have experience with certain, crypto exchanges or cryptocurrencies or blockchain technology, put those keywords in your resume. That's really important. And then, in the meantime, study. So I dropped our crypto picture dictionary, which you can buy from Amazon. Learn the vocabulary. What is the vernacular? How do people talk, right? And check out our conference, Crypto for the Culture. It's free. And so if you're able to speak to examples of how you've actually engaged with this technology or how you've learned about other people who have, you're able to say during an interview, I attended Crypto for the Culture, a Web3 diversity conference, and I was inspired by X person who works at, this company, and this is how they're using the technology. And I really want to be a part of a company that is using that technology as well, because it's the future. Like that's what they're looking for. Like, why are you interested in this?
One other thing I want to add is that I dropped our YouTube channel, and like, not to make this about marketing crypto tutors as much as it is about ensuring that you're getting reliable, trustworthy, validated, education. One other thing I wanted to mention as well along the B2B partnership, right? Like the working with organizations like the Cash Apps of the world, like the Blocks, like the Visas, et cetera, having that battle-tested, Fortune 500 battle-tested curriculum gives us a lot of credibility in relation to what we're sharing with you. So I dropped our YouTube channel. Feel free to consume more of that content and just, again, continuously familiarize yourself. Last thing, this is a game of continuous improvement, continuous learning, and the application of that learning.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, yes, nobody, unless they're like super young, nobody's like just started out in blockchain, right? So think of, anybody who's like, how should I say, more than 25 years old or older, they've all been in another industry first before they got into this industry. So like what Lisa was saying, they're more open to people who have less years of experience in this industry. And if you show a high interest and initiative of self-learning and upskilling in this space, that's what these people that are hiring are looking for. They're looking for people who are continuous learners, right? That are curious. And, why do you like blockchain technology? Why do you believe in Bitcoin? Why do you like Ethereum, or why do you like stable coins? These are questions that you can anticipate during an interview.
These are great words of wisdom, putting keywords in the resumes, because we know they use, we'll say data scrapers to target the keywords to see for job matches, and then having engagement. So learning doesn't happen only in the classroom. It's equally as important to do learning outside the classroom, like going to you all's conferences, checking out your website, looking, and just kind of soaking up all this information. And it's fun. I don't know, it can be fun. So they're really great wealth of information you've shared. So somebody put in the chat, mine looked like Python was being used too. And Nina said, yes, Python is good too. Can you tell us more about that?
You wanna, I mean, the long and
No,
short.
go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, I was going to say that the long and short of it is that there are coding languages. There's a technical rigor associated with, operating within this world, especially if you're coming from the standpoint of a builder. And so, understanding how to build in this arena. Now, what's interesting is that there are kind of universal coding languages. Someone mentioned, Python, but then there are also protocol-based languages. So I mentioned before, in terms of a protocol like Ethereum, the coding-based language is called Solidity. And so, understanding, what's the appropriate coding language will enable you to direct your efforts towards, what resonates the most, where you want to build, what you want to build, and so forth. And then what I did was in the chat, I just dropped a link to give some folks some strategy and some tactics as to making themselves a more viable candidate in the world of Web3. There are a variety of resources within that, and some of the questions related to programming language and what have you is also included. So Dr. Talitha, although this world of Web3 is extremely technical, believe it or not, we're seeing a large portion of growth in jobs being added on the non-technical side. I know your audience is super like data driven and more probably technical than not, but I'm calling that out because again, right, hitching your wagon to growth. Like pitching your wagon to industries. You're talking about 40 million jobs being projected. You're talking about a CAGR, a compounded annual growth rate of 66%, which is, by the way, astronomical. Comparatively speaking, a good CAGR is like 25%. So like, get in where you fit in.
Yep. And then just wanted to share this event. Lisa and I, this just came out, we just published this yesterday. But we're going to be at Morgan State November 6th. So if you all are watching this and you're going to be in town, please RSVP. I just dropped the link in the chat. We're going to be providing an HBCU or Bitcoin financial empowerment tour, free food and education, and career opportunities.
I'm looking for the link.
Oh,
yeah.
did it not go? Sorry. Go ahead.
We're going to be we are on an HBCU tour with Block, the parent company of Cash App, Tidal, TBD, etc. And the HBCU tour is designed to really educate on what does financial empowerment mean in this world of decentralized finance? What are the what's the basis of the monetary system? Where do cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin derive its value? What is the long-term impact? What are the job opportunities? So it's a very rich discussion to ensure that we are setting our folks up for success. And instead of expecting, y'all to come to us all the time, we're coming to you. We're pulling up and we're running it back in 2025 in February also. So, if you're interested in having crypto tutors pull up to your school, let us know. You got our contact information. We definitely invite you to reach out and keep the conversation going.
Wonderful. And I see we do have a professor here from the great Morgan State. Dr. Woodson, thanks for joining us today.
Would love to
if I
see
may,
you. Love to meet you. Send him our way. We'll be on campus theater. In the matter of fact, maybe you can tell us where the theater is because I have no idea. I tried to
He
find
knows
it.
where everything is in Baltimore.
The theater in Morgan State. I don't know what the actual address is.
Morgan State too. Yeah. Give me later. That's great. So that's awesome. That's great that you all are making visits to the schools, visits to the institution. Somebody put in the chat, or everyone might want to upgrade a computer with the Lunar like processor if they're going to get into blockchain. It has a separate NPU that takes some of the load off your CPU. Keep that heat down, the fan running as much, device lives longer. So that really good advice there. And Dr. Woodson said it's easy to find. You can't miss it. And when people tell me that when I'm looking for something, I will miss it. Right. And it's right here. So I'll make sure to get you all connected.
Oh my gosh. I want to, there's so many things I want to tell you guys. One other thing is intersection of blockchain and AI. I really think that that's another extremely powerful conversation. And I say that because you make me think of ESG compliance and just like the amount of computing power that AI takes, the amount of computing power mining takes, and just like how it's unlocking a new innovation economy around Bitcoin miners are regulating the amount of energy that they take and using methane and refining it and making it a productive commodity, which is providing more energy. I mean, there's so many wonderful, fascinating things happening. And I know I breezed through that, but watch the Marathon CEO talking at Crypto for the Culture about that in more detail. Because obviously, again, in the vein of real world problems, how is this technology addressing and solving them? That's what the catalyst and transformation is. That's sustainable.
Fantastic.
And I just want to leave everybody with this. PwC claims that by 2030, 40 million blockchain and Web3 related jobs are going to be created. They're happening right now. And we want HBCU students and alumni to claim their share to these jobs. That is our goal. So we've got your back. And yeah, like Lisa said, you want to be on the right side of the future. So definitely look into this.
Yes. And if you want to predict the future, create it. You know what I'm saying? Like, come over here and create it with us.
Well, with that, and since I'm having a coughing fit over here,
Oh no, are you okay?
you know, y'all just get me all choked up. This is so great. Love it, love it, love it. Thanks everybody for being here today. Hope you have a great rest of your Friday.
Thank you. You're awesome. We love each of you and look forward to keeping in
Bye.
touch. Bye.
Bye.